Last date for filing individual income tax is July 31st, just around the corner as the last date approach. Now, individuals are, of course, looking for extension. We don't know whether that's going to happen or not, but we will try and answer as many questions as we can with respect to ITR, whether you should file, not file. Joining us is Girish Manwari, who's the founder of Transaction Square and former national leader tax KPMG. Girish, thanks very much for taking time out. I think my basic question at this point would be, after having spoken to a lot of tax experts, is that do I have to have a minimum threshold income in order to file income tax return?
Clearly, you have to file a return if you exceed your threshold income. But besides that, there are other criteria too. Like, do you have international assets, international bank account, electricity bill over a lakh, or foreign travel over 2 lakhs, and then deposit in a bank account, current account more than a crore. So really, you really need to see all the parameters, because in some cases, even if you do not have income, but if you have these criteria as being met, you're obligated to file a tax return. So I would urge each one of you, not only for yourself, but for your parents, for your other family members, to go back and see in which cases the thresholds are getting exceeded. Like, I had a case come to me, like the father owned the house, the electricity bill was more than a lakh, though he was not earning today. He just had small FD interest, but still the obligation to file the return comes through.
What happens, Girish, if we happen to miss the 31st July deadline? What is the recourse that citizens should take then to file their taxes anyway, instead of waiting for maybe some sort of a punitive action to be taken against them?
I think if you miss your deadline, still do a belated return. But in two cases, you will really have a problem. One is if you have carry forward losses, especially stock markets people who have carry forward losses, who may have incurred some short-term losses or long-term losses. To carry forward their losses, they need to file their return. Not filing the return in time, the carry forward of losses don't happen. If you're seeking a refund, the return has to be filed on time. In other cases, there is a technical penalty, but it is never really imposed. You just do a belated return, but file. Please file.
How much is the penalty, Girish, in case it was ever to arise for a taxpayer who missed the deadline?
5,000 and 10,000, so it's not too significant.
Okay. Specifically
But
for
a
employees,
penalty
Girish,
is a penalty, so you don't like to have penalties, right?
Absolutely.
Specifically for employees who may not have received their Form 16 for any reason, and there are such cases in Indian startups right now where Form 16s are yet to be received, what does an employee do who wants to file his taxes on time but is unable to because of the lack of Form 16 availability?
See, there is no immunity that if there's no Form 16 in a startup, you can't file your return. That may be a good case for you to argue to avoid penalties. But the reality is that you have to comply, and you would have your salary slips, you will have your different kinds of data which you would have got from different points of time, put all of it together, try to make some sense of it, force your employers to give that Form 16 and do the return. I think that can only just give you immunity against penalty, but there is no exemption that, okay, I've not got a Form 16, so I should not file a return.
Any specific disclaimers that employees need to make, or not employees, rather citizens need to make if they have made any high value purchases during the financial year gone by? Let's say, for example, a car, some jewelry, gold, could be any high value. Is there a limit to what is high value?
I would say, no, forget you making the annual information statement, which is there on your e-portal, will make you remind of all these transactions. If you bought a car, it will be in that. If you bought a house, it will be in that. If you bought shares, sold shares, it will come there. If you got dividends, it will come there. Even if you want to forget, it will be there.
So tax department will not let you
that,
forget.
yeah. So I would just say the portal is very, very mature. It's one of the best portals in the world. Go and see your portal, see your annual information statement, see what's in it. If you've forgotten something, please reconcile it with the annual information system. They will tell you where you need to pay attention to. It is very, very comprehensive.
All right, Girish, thanks very much for joining us with your inputs. Interestingly, I filed my ITR today, and there is a transaction.
I beat you to it, Shweta. I did it yesterday.
Okay, good for you. And apparently, there is a transaction that is showing there that I have received a certain amount for a certain service that I delivered, but I never received the amount. It's in the portal, so I'm not sure what has happened. I think they filed.
So looks like GST would have been paid for the service that you would have rendered, but so
TDS.
the GST, TDS, yeah, or TDS, as the
has
case
been
may be,
paid. Huh.
TDS from that company would have been paid to the government,
But the actual money never
despite
came
the
to-
money not coming to you.
Okay.
So yeah, that money should hopefully come to you soon.
All right, hopefully that money
If
comes.
it's a big amount, then do take us all for a treat.
Will do, Karthik, absolutely.